Hello, honey roses. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. Ooh. So, I had a bunch of downloads for these past few days, and I'm trying to figure out which one I want to tell you about first. Okay, so I watched a movie with my daughter. It's called Before I Fall. She chose the movie. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I just watched it with her. And it was one of those movies where the day repeats over and over again. The same day on repeat. And it just reminded me of our lives. Like how, especially in the beginning stages when you're younger, and I mean, this is something that happens in our life, in our lives as individuals in society. You know, we go through cycles. And even though it was the same day, literally the same day, it was playing over and over again, right? And the whole scenario would go down just as it did before. And when she would wake up, she would be in her bed and the same thing would happen. Excuse me. Now, I'm not sure how many times it happened because I didn't pay attention to that. However, I noticed that each time she began to learn a little more than she did last time about life. And what she tried to do to get out of the loop that she was stuck in is that she tried to do something different. So she was going through different emotions and acting them out according to how she felt on that day. And in the beginning, she was very rude, very disrespectful to her parents and her little sister, and just rough around the edges, right? She was not sweet at all. She had no sweetness. She was sour and salty. Then she started to notice, it's almost like she stopped paying so much attention to herself, and she started to notice the emotions of others around her. And over the course of the days that kept passing, she realized that it would be best for her to try her best to encourage and support those around her, because she recognized that she had a better outcome when she gave better energy, basically. And I don't want to give away the movie just in case. Well, I guess I might as well, but I'm not going to give it all, but I guess I kind of am. I'm just saying what I want to say, whatever. I think it's an older movie. I don't think it's new, but I'm not really sure anyway. But it's called Before I Fall. And there was this one girl that kept getting made fun of with her mean girlfriend group, because all of the girls in her group of friends, they were mean. And they would talk ill about one girl. And she was talented, but she was odd. She was very eccentric. And she was quiet. However, I feel like she was only that way because she was mistreated so much that it made her crawl up into her shell. And she was just a loner at the table by herself eating for lunch. And these group of girls, including the one who was the main character, would make fun of her. And so that girl was made fun of so much that at one party one night, she crashed it and flipped on everybody, flipped on those girls because they made fun of her so much. And a truth had come out that the main one that was making fun of her was actually her close friend some years ago. However, the friend wanted to cover up something that she had done. I think she peed the bed. Yeah, she peed the bed, and she made it seem like the girl who was looked at as odd and eccentric did it. But she never did it. But the way that the lie was presented to everyone believed the other girl. So she went on for all those years being mocked and made fun of. And she didn't even do what was said of her, but no one believed that she didn't do it. Now, the girl that was in the loop, she started feeling bad for the girl that was being mistreated. So after the fight, she kept the days kept on repeating. After the fight, the girl that was being made fun of ran out and ran into the woods. And towards the end of the movie, the girl that had, how can I say, that recognized that she was in a loop, she ran out and followed the girl to try to stop her from offing herself, because that's basically what she was doing in all of those loops that were happening. So she wanted to try her best to stop the girl from herself. So the last time she tried to stop her, the girl she kept on running in front of a vehicle, and the vehicle would hit her. That kept happening over and over again. But the last time, the girl that was in the loop wanted to stop her from doing that to herself, thinking that she would like somehow get out the loop or somehow change things. But instead, she ended up getting hit by mistake, and she pushed the girl out the way, and she got hit by mistake. And then she became, I guess, an apparition, because she was able to see the girl trying to help her in the street, because she just saved her, but she was gone. And that's how it ended. She was able to get out of the loop because she had passed on, because she basically saved the girl from getting hit. Now, metaphorically, we could look at that as like the phoenix. In life, throughout every day, we grow. Well, at least that's what we're meant to do, even though sometimes people get stuck. However, we are meant to grow, and we have deaths and rebirths throughout our existence, right? And so it was like every loop, every day that she went through, adjusting her emotions to try to get out of the loop, she learned more. She learned more about herself. She learned more about what's important. She learned about having understanding. She learned about her family. She learned about her friends. And she paid more attention to everyone. She paid attention to the little things, and she also paid attention to the hidden things as well. Like something that an empath would be able to see, someone who's a psychic, she was able to see little intricate things that were bothering her friends and family that she paid no attention to before, because she was so selfish that she was completely just disrespectful, had no respect for anyone. And that's a real, I want to say rendition. Is that the right word? Or should I just say example? But I heard rendition. But that's a real example of what we go through in life, because, there's ways that we used to have when we were younger where we were disrespectful, cursing people out, Well, not everybody, but some of us, And, I mean, sometimes you still have to check people. I'm not saying that goes away. However, there's a way. You just know how to maintain yourself. As you get older, you know when to stand up for yourself, speak up for yourself, and you know when to relax and just let whatever be. After I watched that movie, I was just sitting there, excuse me, speaking to it's a smoke, but I want the incense on, but it's like choking me up a little bit. But after the movie, anytime I watch a movie, I'm always looking for a message. Anytime I do anything in life, everything is a message to me. I'm already looking for the message. I divinate everything. So I was talking to my daughter, and I started to explain to her what I saw, because it took me a second to even get to what I just told you, because I wasn't thinking about it as I was watching it. I was just taking in what I was watching. But then once it ended, it was a very profound message there. And many people probably would not understand. They're just going to be like, oh, she passed away. Oh, she's a hero. But for me, it was so much deeper than that, because it is an example of our lives. And the key to, or at least one of the keys, but it's a big key, is to understand. And she understood before she moved on to the next phase in her spiritual journey after transcending. Let me look up what rendition means. Is that like a different, like a song done over by someone else, or performance or interpretation, especially of a dramatic role or piece of music? Rendition, a dramatic role. Yeah, I can call it a rendition. So that movie was like, it was an example of a rendition of our lives. Because, you know, you get stuck being a certain way and doing a certain thing. And when we get stuck being a certain way and doing a certain thing, we stuck in the loop, in the cycles. There's so many cycles. No matter if it's sex or drugs or whatever it is, or just being not using your discernment, or continuously getting into toxic relationships. And she went through these, like, there were, those moments were actually present. Well, at least some of them, most of them that I just stated, were present in the movie. So it really was a rendition of what humans go through on earth, or what gods go through on earth, because we are gods. We do walk with God within us, so we are gods. We have our own will. We are the God of our own life, and we use God as a basis, so we understand what the lessons are for, the trying times, the struggle, the trouble. It has a purpose. It's meant for you to learn from it. And she had learned that the more, like I told you before, the more she gave good energy and actually recognized that there's more to life than just being selfish. Even though at times it's good to be selfish, don't get me wrong, because you must take care of yourself before you can take care of anyone else. However, when she realized the value of assisting and supporting her brothers and sisters on earth, she was at peace. And what I believe the last thing that she said in the movie, she was looking at herself laying on the ground because she had gotten hit by the car, so she passed on. And she was looking at the girl that she used to make fun of. She was looking at her, like, try to help her in the middle of the street. And she was like, "Oh, you saved me, like, thank you." And then the girl said, "Thank you," because she was able to pull her out of the loop. And I also felt like, or of this cycle, I also felt like that moment was very telling, because it was a representation of how we meet people in life. And certain people we meet teach us things that we need to know right there in that point in time. And those are our angels that come and they help us. And they're just angels on earth. And sometimes there's angels on earth and they don't even know that they are angels. They don't know that God is using them to assist one of his other angels that is unaware. Because there are angels that are angels and they don't even know. They don't know. They don't know until they know. And she was that moment was a representation of how we connect to each other. Because when you recognize and you understand the purpose of connection and the power of connection, you realize that we can all help each other to ascend. It's just that you have to be at a certain frequency to even get to that point of understanding. But once you're there, you become, that's earth angel status. So if you're in that way of thinking, if that's how you think, you're an earth angel, because you understand. You've ascended, and that's the point of being an ascended master. But you are only an ascended master because you won the war of your own of yourself, of your own life. You've overcome the obstacles, and you didn't allow them to break you. So you ascend. That's ascension. And we go through many ascensions and rebirths. And there was something else I wanted to say. This is what I was talking to my daughter about. Okay, so she passed on with that knowledge within her consciousness, having that understanding of herself, her behavior, her emotions, and how to regulate them, as well as those around her, friends and family and everyone. Now she's going to take that information on within her consciousness and continue on within her afterlife or next life, however you want to say, but the journey goes on is my point, right? Okay, now, is there anything else I wanted to say? I think that's it. I feel like there's one more thing, but I don't know. Wait a minute. I think that's it. Yes, that's it. There's something that I saw on TikTok one time, and I'm wondering if it's true. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. There's something else. Forget the TikTok thing, because I don't watch TikTok that much, but I saw something, so maybe I'll talk about it later. But, wait, hold on. Because I have too many thoughts in my head. Wait. Okay, that's what I want to say. I had to pick one thought. Just one. So I have a hypotheses. What if we continue to come back on this earth plane until our consciousness has ascended to the point of being able to have understanding, right? And when the majority of the individuals, like a certain amount of individuals, have understanding, that would be just the right amount to change the world for the better. Now, another thought is, what if that's right now? What if the right amount of individuals that have the crystallized consciousness, the higher consciousness, tapped into cosmic consciousness, what if there's just enough people here right now that have that to change the world? And then there'll be heaven on earth, and then we won't have to continue to come back to do this all over again, to try to make things right. It's just a thought. And that's what Spirit had given me earlier when I was thinking about it. Yeah. Tell me your thoughts on it. What do you think? Do you have anything to add to this message? From the movie Before I Fall, that's what I divinated from that movie. It was very powerful, but everyone that watches that movie is not going to get that. They're not going to see that. They're just going to just watch the movie and see that she was a hero, but it had a deeper meaning to it, because it really showed the purpose of the soul's journey is to truly learn and understand people, and understand your soul's cry, and understand how to listen, and understand that there's more to life than what meets the eye. So there's no need to overthink about that, because it's like, it is what it is. Maybe some people don't agree with me, and that's fine. However, when you really think about it, don't you realize that the more you use your gifts, like God-given gifts, like discernment, and just being honest with yourself, like honesty, when you're loyal, when you just stay out of the way of nonsense, you really save yourself from stress and the aggravations of life that take place. Many times it's because of who we're around, and the actions that we choose to take part in that really catch us slipping. However, when you make the decision and say, no, I'm not doing that no more because it don't be turning out right when I do that. You know, when you say that, then you do that and your life changes. It just changes because there's just certain things that you're not rocking with no more. You're not going to rock with it. And then when you don't rock with it, everything gets put to a stop. The stuff that you don't like, it stops. But the more you continue to feed that energy that's toxic, the more toxicity comes back to you. The more you're going to feel off. The more you might start feeling depressed and sad. You know? And that's what was happening to her in the movie. There was a certain, she recognized that her attitude was just not good and how everyone was responding to her. So she was like, let me try this. Let me recognize this person. When they say hi to me, let me say hello back. Like these little intricate things that she changed. And she was able to release herself out of the loop, which is ascend with understanding. Like even if you take the part out of the movie where she actually passed away, if we look at that metaphorically, because we do have many deaths and rebirths in life, if we look at it metaphorically, that's just one of the phases of her rebirth, one of the rebirths in her life. She learned, now she can move on in life with understanding. So now she's going to conduct herself differently. She's going to have better experiences now because she has a level of understanding that is going to assist her with excelling in life and catapult her into a higher frequency. So yes, that is the gist of what I got from that movie. And when you overthink in certain situations, such as being in a toxic relationship or dealing with a family member that's just straight disrespectful, and you just keep on brushing it off like it's not bothering you, you don't say nothing, or you say something but it's not much, and it keeps happening, then there's some changes that need to be made. You know, if you try to brush it off and the person won't stop, maybe it's time for you to speak up and say something, because when you do, then it is likely that that person will stop, because they're going to recognize that you're not dealing with it. And many times you can get stuck being mistreated if you don't say anything, and then that person, no matter how much they love you, they're gonna think it's okay for them to treat you crazy. And then who's going to suffer? That would be you. So the overthinking just off the strength of who someone is in your life, like, oh, that's my sister, I don't want to. Oh, that's my father, I don't want to. Like, whoever it is, if they are doing something that's really affecting you emotionally, it's a good thing to speak on it, because it will help you to grow as a person, and you're listening to your soul's cry, and you're being honest with yourself. So the overthinking, it really causes stagnation, no matter what you're overthinking about. No matter what you're overthinking about. Now, I feel like contemplation is different because it's more so like, excuse me, it's you taking time to make a decision. And I feel like that's a good thing. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that, especially if you have time. What's the rush? There's no need to rush. Take your time and make the decision. Weigh your pros and cons. Is it right? Is it not? Like, it's better for you to take time and find out than to rush. Why rush when you don't have to? So contemplation, I feel like the overthinking causes procrastination instead of, I was about to say something, say it, wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Overthinking causes procrastination. However, contemplation is the transmutation, okay, that needs to take place, because it removes the stagnancy. It removes the stagnancy. When stagnancy is removed, then there is room for growth. Okay? And so I actually wrote a book about overthinking. And I just wrote it the other day. It's a short book. It's only 5 pages. And it's titled 5 Ideas. I'll put it here. 5 Ideas to Prevent Overthinking. And I just wrote it because I was meditating and I started to think about overthinking and how people are so affected in so many different ways when it comes to overthinking. And that download came from me one time through a conversation with you all on one of the YouTube videos. I began to speak about, overthinking. And someone asked me, because I remember saying in the video, if any of you have trouble with overthinking, tell me and I'll elaborate on it, because I just touched it. I just grazed it on the top a little bit, but I didn't talk about it too much. And when I said, ask me if you want me to dive deeper into it, someone did say, yeah, I really struggle with overthinking. Can you tell me more? And I did tell her, but I didn't tell everyone. I just put it in a comment. And so in the book, I go a little deeper because I used to overthink a lot myself. And I learned a method that works for me to prevent myself from overthinking, because I recognize that overthinking without like a destination, because just overthinking, it has no purpose. It doesn't help you at all. It just stagnates you. It leaves you a little stuck. And then you're doing all this thinking and then it gets stressful because it's like, okay, now what? All that thinking, and if it's not leading to a place, then there's no point to it. It's useless. So when I wrote the book, I basically put my methods that I use to prevent overthinking that helped me. And I feel as though it could help you too. And it's only $8.88. I decided to make it a low ticket item. I'm gonna make some low ticket item books because, it's just like it's kind of like a reading in a way, or a guide, I could say, for overthinking. So it's quick. It's not anything in depth. It's not like 40 pages and 50 pages like my other books. It's something short. So $8.88, I feel like it's reasonable. And 888 is a representation of me as well, because that's my birthday, 8/24/88. And then the day of my birthday is 2/4, and 4 times 2 is 8. So 8. It's actually 8888. It's actually 4 8s. So maybe I should add another 8. I don't know, whatever. But yeah. So the book is available, and I will add it to this video. Okay? So get your copy today. It's going to be emailed to you immediately because of how I put it together, how I did that there. Okay? All right, so that's it for this message. Thank you for being here. Everything you do, do it with love. And I'll see you in the next message.